Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. After the cash party, one clunker of a hangover, auto sales screeching to a halt last month after being propped up by a government program. GM sales falling 45%, Chrysler's diving 42%, and Ford down just over 5% from last year. But if you look at the month-to-month numbers, Ford sales were down 37% from August. That is when cash for clunkers spurred 700,000 car and truck sales. It just took about $3 billion of your tax dollars to do it. Proof that these government fixes really don't fix anything, let's ask Republican Governor Tim Pawlenty of Minnesota, who today is launching his Freedom First Political Action Committee, which many are very excited about, saying that this may be a prelude to a presidential run in 2012. We won't start off so tacky. We will talk about what the governor is up to now. Governor, what are you up to with this?
Well, Neil, the PAC, both legally and as a practical matter, is designed to get the message out that we need to respect and remember freedom in our public policies. We need to support candidates who appreciate that. We also need to make sure that we have a political system that appreciates that. It's not geared towards a presidential run. It's geared towards helping other candidates in their races in 2009 and 2010. But thanks for asking. TimPawlenty.com is where people can learn more.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about these numbers, the auto sales numbers. We had a series of weak numbers, except in housing. I'll get to that later. But now concerns that people stop buying cars when you take the big incentives away. Pretty clear on the post-cash for clunker aftermath. What do you make of that?
Well, it was clear that this program was misguided to begin with. Here we have a country, the United States of America, that doesn't have money to spend. It's in debt. We're borrowing money from places like communist China to pay ourselves money to buy cars from companies that we bought a majority interest in, so someday we might be able to pay ourselves back. It's ludicrous. And now we learn the effect of this is that we pulled the demand forward and are just dissipating what was future demand for car sales, and you see that in the numbers today. And then along the way, we also hurt the used car lots, the salvage industry, the charitable industry that converted old cars, and much more.
Would you advocate another cash for clunker program or extending, as the president is looking to do, these housing rebates, effectively checks for folks to get anywhere from $8,000 to maybe $15,000 toward the purchase of a home?
Neil, the nation is out of money. It needs to live within its means. We're going to have the federal government debt equivalent of the subprime mortgage meltdown if we don't get serious about reining in spending. No, I would not support increasing those programs. You know, there's a joke out now that says the main value of the Cash for Clunkers program may be that we'll get a lot of cars with Obama stickers off the road.
All right, well, be that as it may, it did sell a lot of cars up front, but it was your argument throughout that it would just sort of rob sales from the future. Ford sales were among those the least affected, and Ford, of course, the one car maker that did not receive any federal bailout money. What did you make of that?
Well, Ford, of course, has taken a different path than the other companies, and they're turned down the bailout money. They're charting their own course. They've got some exciting new products out and planned on the drawing board. So actually, amongst the American car makers, they're separating themselves for those reasons, and they may do well and may recover more quickly than the others. So I applaud Ford in that regard, and I wish them well. But I think they made a wise choice. They're going to do it the old-fashioned way. They're going to do it themselves without the government having to bail them out.
All right, speaking of the government, looks like our feed just went out. Did it, guys? Okay, there he is. He's back. All right, we thought the Democratic National Committee had taken over the control room. But, Governor, is there a sense on your part that Republicans might be winning the short-term victory on health care, but losing the long-term battle if, for example, health care costs continue to go out of sight? Democrats are going to come back and say it's those Republicans who stopped progress.
Neil, we have to, as Republicans and conservatives, offer a solution, and we have to fix this health care system. It's one thing to criticize the Obama plan, and it should be criticized. As I said before, it's like a manure spreader in a windstorm. It's just more throwing out of more bad ideas. It's hard to even keep track of all of them in this bill. But beyond that, Republicans now need to turn towards offering positive solutions. We've done that. I've done that on your show before. Other Republicans have as well. There's enough stuff that people agree on, both Republicans and Democrats. If we set aside the things we can't agree on, we could make progress. That's the spirit that will get this thing done, not this polarization process.
All right, I want to go back to being tacky, Governor, if you don't mind, and talking about 2012, right, which I know you hate talking about. But the way it's presented by a lot of folks is it's pretty much a three-man kind of a race. And it's Mike Huckabee, you know, you'll see a Romney movement and you'll see your name mentioned. And then there's the Sarah Palin talk on the outside. Do you see it that way?
Well, I don't, Neil. That's just speaking for myself. I don't know what I'm going to be doing a few years from now. I think we'd be really doing a disservice to the conservative movement and my party if we focus on 2012. All of us should be helping in 2009 and 2010. That's why I launched this PAC, both from a policy and a candidate issue. But all this talk about 2012 is premature. It's speculative. I'll tell you flat out, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. It could be equally likely that I'm in the private sector come 2012 when I'm done being governor of Minnesota.
All these political cynics and these crass, you know, TV anchors who are on at 4 p.m. on Fox are reading too much into the establishment of this, you know, new initiative of yours.
Well, I think they are. I genuinely don't know. I'm not trying to be cute or coy. I just genuinely don't know what I'm going to be doing a few years from now, and we'll see. But that focus of that PAC is on helping in 2009 and 2010 in other races, not my own.
Okay. Stepping back on this economy thing and look at the markets, if we can just take a big look at the big board today, guys. Across the board losses and growing concerns that whatever beautiful September to remember there was and a great quarter, the reality might be coming home to a lot of folks. One day does not a trend make, nor a month or a quarter, I should stress. But you've argued that we're going to wake up and smell the spending coffee here, and they'll be hell to pay, right?
Well, we got a number of things going on, Neil. One of the things we may have is a liquidity rally where they pump so much liquidity into these markets. Of course, there was a run-up. The earnings reports that you saw a while back were generated by cost savings, not necessarily by increased consumer demand. And so you may have seen a liquidity rally, and there's a lot of concern about where the market goes from here. What we do know for sure is while this situation may have stabilized, there's still a lot of risk out there, including federal spending that is out of control in the intermediate term and the long term. It's going to trigger inflation. We're devaluing the dollar because if you print more money, it's worth less. You're seeing that in the currency markets. There's a lot of concern. And this stimulus bill, by the way, is not going to be what turns this economy around.
Governor, always great having you on. Thank you very much.
All right, Neil. Thank you.
Governor Pawlenty.